Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside and welcome to a very long overdue back porch chat today. We are the 1st of July, the beginning of July. Last night or yesterday was July 4th, and hope everybody here in the United States had a very fun and safe and festive July 4th. We kind of have a little tradition here at our house where my family comes over and we hang out here on the patio and just to have lots of fun and fellowship, and then some good fireworks afterwards. And that's where this beautiful crock of sunflowers and hydrangeas came from, because I'm sure that somebody's going to ask about this. So this is my mama's container. It's probably older than dirt. She's collects the antiques from family, so then those are her sunflowers. Have no clue what kind they are. And then those are the firelight hydrangeas, because they have started blooming and they are exquisite up there on Hydrangea Hill. And I think we're going to go visit there in the next couple of days and do a video about hydrangeas. So we'll show you that. Yes. But yeah, it's hot.
It is hot. It's warming up. I think it's we've hit some really high temperatures this summer, which has been a little different for us over the last several summers. We usually do get really warm, but we've had multiple days of 90s and 100s.
I know, and then the dew point and the humidity are just... is what,
sometimes we'll see that, and there's different folks across the nation, and they say, oh, we get 101 here, you know, but the humidity changes the game for us a little bit. And
it does.
And it's really, really thick, so it can make 100 feel like 110.
And it can make 88 feel like 105.
Yeah, so it's all good.
Yeah. It is, but it's July here in North Carolina. So we have some 3 fun trips coming up really in the next...
Yeah, I think, we got the trips coming up. We have several cool videos that are coming up. So we're going to talk about that. And then your questions.
We got a bunch of questions we're going to answer.
Yeah, so the trips, we have a couple of garden tours that we'll be doing.
Right, so we're going to be going to Spring Meadow Nursery, which is the shrub nursery that supplies all of Proven Winners shrubs. We were there last year and did a video. We will go back for one of their events. Just Jerry and I are going to go this year, like we did last year. The kids are not going to go, so Jerry and I will go up there. Be kind of a quick trip up and down, but we hope to do, where we're going to do a video, we hope to do a little bit of a different spin of a video, as opposed to, we don't want to repeat the exact same tour we did last year. So look forward to some sort of video at Spring Meadow and from our trip up there. We're working on a couple of other fun projects that are not quite nailed down yet, so we'll wait till we get closer to announce what we're going to be doing, possibly be doing with that. And then the 1st of August, so that's the end of July, I had to think for a second, then the beginning of August, roughish, we're going to head up as a family to Pleasant View Gardens. Yeah, going back to Pleasant View. We are. Going to show their display gardens, their wonderful, cool display gardens again on video. We are. I was going to say, there was
what was that?
I say there's a, there you go, good. I couldn't.
Flying creatures, so that's the other thing that happens this time of year.
I was watching your hat going, is that a fly or is that a spider?
Every creature is alive, little insects.
Ready to kill
and they're after all of us to sting us and pop us and bite us. And
there we go.
Yeah.
Gardening is not for the weak of heart.
It seems to be really early this year. Usually it doesn't happen to us. It doesn't seem like we get mentally exhausted with it until August. But it's
even Jackson said today that he thinks winter is better because there's no bugs. Anyway, we digress. So we're going to go up to Pleasant View and go through and do a video of their display garden. Super excited about that because, of course, that switches out every year. So they'll have lots of fun new things up there. And then we're going to hang out there for a couple of days as a family. And then the big one is that we're going to be going to the Grand Garden Show on Mackinac Island, the Proven Winners Garden Show. So the whole crew is going to be there. We're super excited. Of course, Jerry and I, our kids, my mom is tagging along with us. So as soon as we found out that we were going, we're like, Mama, you have to go. So that's working out really well. So we're going to go. I'm going to be a keynote speaker with Laura, our beloved Laura. So if you are going to be at the garden show, Laura and Jerry and I and Aaron and all the rest of the Proven Winners crew will see you there. If you are going to the garden show, we'll also tell you this, is that we're going to have, you have an option of adding on a lunch with Jerry and I. So you can sign up for that lunch. Laura has a lunch one day. I have a lunch the next day. So you can sign up for that, and we can just spend some time together and over some food and fellowship and get to have a little bit more intimate, more one-on-one kind of time. So if you're going and want to do that, you can head to the Grand Garden website, all your information you've gotten from them, and you can sign up from that. Yeah. So those are our trips that we have planned for right now. Yep. Videos?
Videos. So here we'll have a couple of garden tours. We haven't done massive garden tours like where we do like the whole house. So we're going to do one for the whole house.
Yep.
And then we have added to our trial display gardens down at the nursery. So there are plants there that
fantastic.
you have not seen, and everything's looking really good. So that one will probably come out first, and it'll be this week sometime.
It will. So we'll do the trial beds. They're absolutely looking great.
Yeah.
Really excited about not only annuals, but perennials, shrubs. So it's a little bit of everything. They're looking great. So we'll do that. And like Jerry said, we're going to do a whole garden tour because a lot of people have asked how certain beds are doing that maybe we haven't been in recently. And it'll help give you a perspective of like the whole gardens here at the house and where everything is in relation to each other.
Like right now, I'm behind Jenny over here are two beds or two container, I don't know what you call those
deck
things.
boxes.
Deck boxes. There we go.
Which I haven't even talked about that.
Yes, it was not in a video. We haven't talked about it. It's over there hanging. It's looking really good right now. So that would be, cool to show up.
Yeah, we need to do that.
So there are things that will be in the tour that you have not seen.
That you have not even seen yet, because sometimes it's just Jenny just wants to garden for the fun of gardening and not doing a video, and that this qualifies as one of those cases. So so look forward to that, and including the dahlia bed. We've gotten a lot of questions about the dahlia bed. Obviously, I think if you followed along, so Laura, Garden Answer, when we visited them in September, her dahlias were in all their glory, and I just fell in love with them. Just how could you not? They're stunning. And so she was so kind and sent us this massive, huge box of dahlia tubers. Early May, I believe it was, got them in the ground. Never have grown dahlias before. I literally watched Laura's YouTube videos on her planting dahlias and did exactly what she said. And then I had some moments of panic because I just thought they would just poof, pop out of the ground right away. And they've been slow to come up, but they're up. So I don't know if that's normal. I don't know, but they are doing really well. Everybody's up. The sunflowers are gorgeous. Even they don't not have bloomed yet, but they're sprouted. So we'll show you a tour of all that too. But just know that the dahlia bed, the cut flower garden, is coming along quite nicely. We've had some things didn't come up, and some things have come up beautifully. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to pull up my notes on my phone here, and we will get to going on videos. How about that? Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. Anything else you want to add before we get going? Nope. All right. We're not going to hit every video. We're just going to hit some of the highlights since who knows when, because I don't even remember the last time we did a porch chat. The first video that we are going to cover is, the title was Using Our New Garden Water Tank. We got a new toy here at the nursery. Super excited about that. It is a 100 gallon Reddick tank. It is hooked up to our tractor. We decided to go the tractor route because it made sense for us, because if you have it in a tank, you need a power source to power the pump. It is powered by the PTO of the tractor. You could get one that was like you put in the bed of the Polaris or the Kubota, but you would have to have either a separate battery or hooked to that. And for us, it just doesn't make sense because we're constantly taking things in and out of those machines where the tractor, the water tank can stay on there and just hang out, because that's...
Yeah, the third option would have been a trailer unit, and then you have to park that thing somewhere else, and
right.
It's a tow and a trailer around. I don't know. We can get our tractor pretty much easily into the locations where we need to fertilize.
Right.
And it's just one unit, and Jenny doesn't have to worry about backing a trailer or trying to make the trailer through.
Right. And it would be interesting to know really how long that hose is, because I just fertilized the other day, and I could park the trailer in the driveway and come all the way to the side of the house, all around to the side of the house, and I still had tons of hose left.
Yeah.
So that's another point, is that I don't need to get up close and personal. I've got plenty of hose that I can.
Yeah. Downside, I guess, is this, tractors running and making noise or whatnot.
It's a little noisy.
It's a little noisy.
But any pump's going to be noisy.
Well, an electric pump probably wouldn't be, because the trailer would be powered by a battery that then is charged by. But then, too, you got the battery, you have to worry about getting it charged. You go out, you got all your stuff geared up, ready to go. Like it's happened to me many a times when I go into a landscape job and we need to dump a load of mulch and the darn battery didn't charge.
It's fun.
It's fun.
So all that to say is, depending on your situation and your needs, right, there's not a bad or a better. It's just, what does your garden and your environment need, and what kind of tools do you already have? And
So, for us, the tractor worked great because the tractor's not really being used as much for its PTO 3-point hitch.
So, perfect segue to that. Thank you for that. On the comments on this video, I could tell where my farm girls were.
Yes,
I got it.
That too.
So this is from Too Many Tomatoes. Love that, by the way. She says, I say she, I don't know. Could be fella. Wait. Did you cut out all the cussing and adjusting? At least that's what happens with our 3-point hitch.
It can.
You notice we didn't show that.
The Kubota, it's been, even though my Kubota is fairly, it's
old.
It's
I mean,
old.
I say old.
It's probably 14, somewhere around there. Emily's 17, somewhere around 14 years old.
Yeah.
But it has a good adjustments on its 3-point hitch. So you don't have to be exact to back up to it. And the one thing that does away with all that stress is a quick hitch, attach, which we're going to get one of those. But yeah, that would, it was, that part was easy though, the hooking up part.
Yeah. So Carmen says, how did you two hook it up without farming words? Every time we hook up our sprayer or bush hog, it's a chore that sometimes...
The bush hog is different.
Sometimes ends up with both of us mad.
Yeah, bush hog won't move. The sprayer, where you can adjust it because it's light. If you know anything about it, you have like lots of different adjustments. There's flexibility there.
So anyway, I loved it. My fellow farmers right there with tractors, because if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Oh my goodness, that was great. Okay, so Debbie said, wow, what I would not do for a toy like that. Debbie, I know, it only took me 16 years to get it. All right. How often would you need to apply liquid fertilizer to that bed? This is the entrance bed to the nursery. Once a week in the summer, or less often. So really what our regimen will be is going to be probably once every 2 weeks. Certain things we'll talk about more in depth about this particular plant in there. But with these flowering annuals, they are typically very heavy feeders. So the more you feed them, the more flowers you have, the more lush they are, the bigger they get. It's really hard to over-fertilize these flowering annuals.
Yeah, most of those, yes.
Your petunias, your those kinds of things, right? But along with this was Judy's question, and I think maybe there was a couple of these questions.
There were several questions about.
Yeah, I just saw Judy, so that's why Judy. There was a couple of you
talking about.
Yeah, she says, I didn't think you were supposed to fertilize sun patients because that would make them too leggy, which is right. Great tank system, by the way. So this is a yes and a no.
It sort of kind of shuts their flowering down.
Right.
When they get too much fertilizer.
Right, because they're putting their energy into the growth and not the flower.
Right.
So that was the first, when you saw us do that, that was the first time.
They hadn't had any fertilizer.
They had zero fertilizer prior to that. And we'll show you in the garden tours, they are.
Yeah, they're booming.
They are beautiful. We can sit on our front porch and we just see this sea of hot pink magenta. So they are beautiful. So with that, we will not fertilize the sun patients as often as I will my petunias and calibrachoas and other, salvias, those kinds of things. So maybe where the heavy feeders get it once every 2 weeks, maybe the sun patients get it once every 4 or 5 fertilizers. So it'll definitely be less.
We just keep the ratio the same.
Right.
And we just lengthen the time of fertilization.
Right. You just spread it out.
Yeah.
All right, and then a pretty yellow flower. Oh no, I've been feeding my hydrangeas with Miracle Grow Liquid Bloom Booster. Should I not be? In my humble opinion, no. So, because I said in that video that I was not going to fertilize the hydrangeas with that liquid fertilizer. And I learned this really from my own personal mistake a couple of years ago, because I was just like everybody else. Oh, it's a flowering shrub. It produces lots of flowers. Therefore, I need to feed it with my liquid fertilizer, just like while I'm hitting my petunias, I'm going to hit my hydrangeas. And it was this particular one over kind of in the shade garden, and it just stopped blooming altogether. I mean, it just stopped. And then doing research, that liquid fertilizer, if you look at it, it will say for flowering annuals. I know that Pre-Emergent Winter says flowering annuals. I did look up the Miracle Grow and it said flowering annuals and perennials. The perennials, I still, as a grower.
Well, once again, a perennial is kind of going to be like that impatient. It's not going to need the amount. So if you did do it, you just don't go back there for
a very long time.
A month.
Right. So then you go to Pre-Emergent Winter's website, because always go back to the source. Go to the manufacturer, whether it's the manufacturer of the fertilizer, the manufacturer, the grower of the plant that you're looking at. 9 times out of 10, they should give you instructions. So if you go to Pre-Emergent Winter's and you look, you put in some kind of hydrangea. I just put in an Incrediball, right? Because Incrediballs are prolific bloomers. And you grow all the way to the bottom, and it'll tell you like growing notes. And it says, if you want to fertilize your hydrangeas, you do it early spring, late winter. So for us, that's end of February into March with a slow release rose fertilizer. And you do that once a season. So that's all they need. That's the beautiful thing about shrubs, is they are not as high maintenance as
fertilization.
Yeah, especially with your fertilization. So one, I don't want to say you're wasting money, but you kind of are. And then 2, I think you could actually be doing more harm than good as far as trying to produce flowers, and the plant may be like, I don't need that. Just leave me alone. Yep. All right. So that was on that video. And then the next video was, this was a fun one. How we are dealing with the invasive weed dodder. So we found out from a fantastic viewer who was looking out for us that we had the invasive parasitic weed dodder in one of our garden boxes. Go back and watch those whole videos. I give a great explanation on that. But basically, that is, you do not want that in your garden, and you want it out. The bad thing about dodder, of course, is that once it goes to seed, it is a prolific producer of seeds, and those seeds can lay dormant in the soil for up to like 20 years. So it's not just a matter of fact of, oh, we'll just, pull it and move on. No, this could be a constant problem, and especially if you do let it go to seed, year after year, it could overtake your whole garden. And when you own a nursery and you have big, huge gardens, I mean, anybody needs to take this seriously, but it just brought a whole nother level of, oh my goodness, this is not fun. So,
and it came from high quality seed.
Yeah, we're going to get to there in just a second.
Yeah.
He doesn't know the questions yet. In fact, that is the first question. So very good, Mr. Simpson. All right, this came from Tony. She said, thank you so much, Jenny. You gave us a professional and thoughtful lesson in how you handled the daughter. Were you able to reach out to whoever provided the contaminated seeds to you as to prevent further spreading? No, and let me explain why. One, I know that I had daughter last year. I just didn't know that it was daughter. It had beets in there, and I thought, what are these beets doing? Like, what in the world is going on with this? You know, life's too busy, and you just kind of like brush it off and move on. So I know I had it last year. I may have had it the year before. I'm not sure. I want to say that I think I did. So I don't know exactly where those seeds came from, but we use two main companies, and they are extremely high quality, very reputable sources. And so I am not going to throw them under the bus and publicize on social media that
anything can happen.
And anything can happen, right? And so we have bought seeds from these companies for years and years. And
it goes back all the way to the beginning. That'd be 17 years.
Yeah, for a very long time. And so if I knew exactly, I could contact that company and say, I planted I think the only beneficial, would have been that if we had known we had done it then and known that it would have helped. Right,
like they would have known that batch. Well, probably all those batches are gone now, and it's not even worth bringing up to them.
Right.
It's not worth the stress for the company.
It's not right, and then I'm not gonna land blast them on social media either. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so that's my explanation as to saying no, I did not contact them because I don't know which company it was, I don't know which crop it was, and I don't know exactly what year it was. So it's not going to do them any good to know.
No.
So that answers that. Judy says, does a pre-emergent work on invasive perennials if you cut them below the ground surface? No. So what a pre-emergent does is it simply prevents seeds from germinating. So it's a pre-emergent. So before the seeds can germinate and emerge, it stops them. So it does not kill existing weeds. It does not kill established plants that are there. That's why you can use them in beds that are already established to control weeds. It just, whatever seed is in there, it will not germinate. That's why, obviously, in a garden box, when I have areas that I'm going to direct sow carrots and vegetables in, you would not want to use a pre-emergent because it would also prevent your vegetable seeds from germinating. So that's what a pre-emergent does. Molly says, would you consider destroying the complete garden? Thanks for the warning. Molly, if I did that, you just might as well just go ahead and pick me up off the floor because I would be done.
Well, see, knowing that it was done last year or even the year before that means that there is no really other daughter that has come up. It would have come up, and then
in multiple places.
It could have germinated, come up, I can't find a host plant, I die. Mm-hmm. And that's what it does. So, it's a non-threat to any of the perennials in the cottage garden, any of the shrubs that are growing above the cottage garden. It's just a non-threat, and it's not going to be a problem, even if the seeds did get in there, which we don't think they did.
No. So
the only thing that we're going to do is then in turn destroy the box, just because that's what we want to do, and get rid of all the soil just in that box and just start that box over because we know it's in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then part of me says, like, part of my thought process was, well, do we just keep the box how it is and I continue using a pre-emergent in that box, and then I only plant transplants in there, so like my tomatoes or something, or basils, or but then it's just like, well, no, because I try to keep my vegetable gardens all organic, and I don't want to use a pre-emergent, and then that's just too much. Talking about doing that for 20 years, that just makes
Yeah, and it's kind of fine because, we've had some issues with some of the wood boxes up there.
Yes.
So we're going to just take this moment to do it right, and we're going to try a new method.
We are. And then Lorraine says, is it a problem that your dog is running around this area? I'm not trying to be rude. Thank you for saying that, because sometimes it's hard to understand. I just don't know anything about this. Don't know what the seeds look like or how they are spread. So that is an excellent point. And I had that exact same thought process before I started working in that area. But no, Brenna was not a threat because the daughter had not gone to seed this year. So it was just the vine, and the only seeds that are present are the ones that are in the soil. So, and plus she had been running through that whole area, before we even knew it was daughter. But no, so I did have that thought process. Wasn't rude. I understand what you were thinking, because if it had gone to seed and she runs by it with her thick fur, those seeds get on her fur, she runs through all the rest of the gardens, and then that is a disaster. So, excellent point, but it had not gone to seed, so we were okay. And then Turtle Lily's garden, she says, just a question, no judgments. Why did you use a pre-emergent when you were completely removing the soil? Is it to keep the weed from coming up until you can get to the removal, or for some other reason? Completely understand why we'd use it in your adjacent beds. Sorry you're having this issue. Again, very great question, and it's just because I don't know how quickly we're going to be able to get to that box and do that whole process. I suspect we'll wait and do it in the fall.
Probably so, yeah.
Because again, it's hotter than hoochie coochie around here, and it is going to be a labor-intensive job because we can't get machinery up to that, so we'll have to semi-hand haul that soil and all that stuff out of there. Mm-hmm. So let's just wait till it's cooler and deal with it then. But I just don't want, not even the daughter, but just any other weeds coming up. So let's just keep it neat and tidy. Obviously, we're not going to be growing vegetables in that again, so I'm not worried about contaminating the soil. So there we go. That was that. The next video was where I was showing you how I maintain my flower pots at the nursery, and y'all seem to really enjoy that. Some really good feedback from y'all on that it was enjoyable and helpful, and gave some of y'all some good confidence to go out there and tackle and not be afraid to trim back your plants, because that is a key in maintaining your containers. Jesse says, very informative. Is that Prince Tut in the aqua pot just one plant?
Yes.
Yes, it is. That is Prince Tut for you. Those Tut grasses are...
Yeah, which shows you how well the aqua pot works.
Yeah, it shows you exactly how well that aqua pot works.
Because the Prince Tut loves water.
It does love water. The more you give it, the bigger it gets. And so, yes, that was it started out as a 1 gallon, but it was just one container, one plant. Next question is from Jean. She says, hi, Jenny. Jean from Oklahoma Panhandle, Texas County. Beautiful gardens. Where did you get your cute skirt? Can't find anything like that here. And what was the name of the snail slug granules? Have a great rest of the day. So I got so many comments on that little skirt. It's not really a skirt. It is a skort because it has shorts underneath it. I am not that brave to actual garden in a skirt, so I feel more confident with it being a little skort. But a ton of y'all asked comments on that. We got it last year, and we got it at Footsloggers up in Blowing Rock. We were on our anniversary trip last year, and so Footsloggers is
which product is it, though? Brand?
I do not know.
Oh, is it a cool?
I'd have to look.
Okay.
But Footsloggers is like an outdoor company, like clothing company, because up in the Blue Ridge Mountains, they have, people hike and all that stuff. So they sell like outdoor active clothing and shoes and camping gear and all that. And we were up there, and it was the cutest little thing, and it's so comfortable. So I'll try to, if I can find the name of it, but I don't know. But it's fun, and it has pockets. You ladies will understand and appreciate that. Jordan asks, is there a compost pile that all the dead-headed plants end up? And so that, again, is a yes-no answer to that. We do have multiple areas on the property where we dispose of either our clippings, where we've pruned, when we've emptied containers with the extra, that potting soil. all of the deadheaded, when we deadhead and do all that, weeds, everything. So we have multiple areas where we just dump it. It's not technically a compost pile because we don't actively compost it. We just pile it up, let it degrade. Every once in a while, Jerry will come in with the machines and either turn it or push it back. So we just let it decompose on its own and then just return to the earth, but we don't go back and then collect that and then use it as a top dress as a compost.
We're not trying to
we're not
make
trying
sure
to
it's
compost.
right and compost and get into all. We don't have time for that.
Right.
Yeah, we let other people do that.
Yeah, we'll let the other people do it. So that is a yes, no.
Yeah.
It's not waste. It's not wasted.
We're not throwing it in the trash or anything.
No, we're not throwing it in the trash, but it just doesn't. We don't use it return for compost.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
No, we don't. Yes. All right, moving on to the next video was flower power for the shade. It's when I was over in the shade garden here at the house and I was adding in flowering annuals for that. That bed has always been so much fun to play with and be in. It has evolved very much over the years. We introduced you to a new compost that we are trying out from Fafford. And so in that, we got a couple of comments on that. It is, so we're trying that out. So SJ says, I'm curious about this compost. Will it get muddy in the rain? As we have 2 dogs, I worry about that and how muddy they will become, but our soil could really use a top dressing of compost this year. The bark in it might help, but it's also probably not available here in Canada.
Who knows?
So the compost is not muddy at all.
Mm-hmm.
We've had several good, summertime thunderstorms since we've laid it down, and it has not splattered on the house at all. It has not washed. I mean, I imagine if you put it on a hill,
it wouldn't be good for
a hill, but that bed is relatively flat, so it has done really well, held well there. The question about mud, you have to remember, we're from North Carolina. We deal with red clay. Our definition of mud might be different than your definition of mud, but I would not consider it muddy. And it does have all that great aged pine bark in it, which is really nice and helps amend the soil a lot. As far as Canada, I would just recommend you go to Fafford's website. Just go. I'll put the address down here, and then you should be able to look and see if it's available in Canada and get some more information that way. Helen says, hey Jenny, been watching your channel for a couple of years. This bed has filled in so beautifully. Thank you. Love your gardening belt. I know your sweet husband Jerry gave it to you, but where could I order one? So I always try to link when I talk about it. I try to give you a link for that belt. I have worn it every time I've been in the garden since I've gotten it. I have worn it, and it has just been fantastic. Even though it's hot and I'm sweaty, and it's it is so nice to have all of my tools right there, and it doesn't. I mean, you feel the weight on your hip, but it's not like pulling down your pants or your shorts or anything like that. So Jerry found it. It's a company here in North Carolina, actually. It is Wheeler Monroe Leather Company. Handmade. And you have to order it. You order your specific size. So you have to get the tape measure out. It's not your pants size. It's your actual physical measurement of your waist. And they tell you exactly where and how to measure that. So you measure it, and then that measurement, they give you 5 holes in your belt. So that measurement, I think, is the middle number, and then you've got 2 on each side. So if you're a little fluffy, you can loosen it up, or if you're feeling a little thin, you can tighten it up. But the leather is super soft. It is. I just can't say enough good things about it. We're not affiliated with them in any way, but it's just a great product, and I am super excited about it. Did you order one?
Yes.
Yes, but you ordered a different.
Yeah, yours has the sleeve in it for the hoary-hoary.
And yours doesn't.
It says it has a scissor sleeve, I think, but we'll see when it gets here. It's essentially the same thing, I think.
Yeah, so there's different ones, and you can get them in different colors, and your like the belt buckle can be in different colors.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, so once you order, you have to wait a couple of weeks for them to make it and then send it to you. All right, Janet says, good morning, Jenny. Beds look beautiful. I'm an avid coffee drinker, but I can't find an iced coffee that I like. What do you prefer? Thanks for all you do for us. So today you will notice that Jerry and I just have good old ice water because we have already had our afternoon coffee. But iced coffee, so we have a Keurig machine, and I love the feature on it that it has where you can do an iced coffee. So you can you can use whatever Keurig cup you like. I tend to like to have my iced coffees with a little bit of flavor in them. My current favorite one is, I know it's July, I don't care. It's a cinnamon dolce, so it has that cinnamon flavor to it, and it is an excellent iced coffee. And then you could add your sugar and cream if you wanted to, but when you hit that ice button, it brews it differently because it knows that it's going to go over ice and it's going to melt some. Before we had that, what I would do is just brew it like hot and let it cool and then put it in the refrigerator. I would try to do it like that morning so we could have it in the afternoon. But yeah, so do you have a favorite? What is you tend to be more bold.
Yeah.
And I tend to be more.
That's why the little single cup machines have done well for us, because we can switch out the things. So.
He can have his really dark coffee, and I can have my lighter brew.
Right.
But I tend to like the flavors. Yeah. And then Julia says, question, will the compost suppress the weeds? Yes, it certainly does. Now, it doesn't prevent the weeds, but it definitely does suppress. And when you get a weed, because it's conditioned the soil, they will pull out much easier. Again, remember, especially this time of year, weeds are rampant and everywhere, so get them while they are little. If you see them and it's this big, pluck it. It is much easier to do it than when it's this big and 10 feet tall and roots to kingdom come. And then Jen Meg says, how do you keep deer away from your hosta? We get this question all the time, like every day it comes up. And I think we've probably answered it in every single video. We just don't have a deer problem here.
We really don't have a...
I'm not the best one to ask you, to tell you how to take care as far as like keeping deer out of your garden. Just because that's not something that I have personal experience with, I believe.
And we've dealt with it with customers that come here and get different hostas, different textures, and it just depends on your level of deer problem.
Yes. Because
if the deer is hungry, we have found that they will eat
anything.
Thorns on roses. You know?
I will tell you this, and we think we contributed that because we do have deer, but we contribute to the fact that they leave our plants alone is because we have so much natural area around us that they're just not hungry. So case in point, Jerry and I were sitting on the front porch 2 days ago. 2 days ago. So early morning, right? I mean, the sun's just coming up. We're sitting there and still half asleep, and I see something out of the corner of my eye, and I look, and there's a deer just walking right along the creek bank towards us, and I go, there's a deer. So he looks over, and we watch that deer just meander very slowly up, like towards the nursery. She walked past the butterfly bushes. She walked past 2 sets of hydrangeas, all the impatiens, the artemisia, the coleuses, all of that stuff, and she sniffed it a couple of times, but never took a bite. And then she just went down into the creek, and then she disappeared into the creek. So there we go. All right, next video is planting the Echinaceas. So we planted Echinaceas here in these 2 backyard beds for loads of color and pollinators. Christopher says, thank you for wearing sun protection. Can you tell me where you purchased your long sleeve shirt and your hat? Love watching your videos. Thank you so much. So the hat I've had for a couple of years. I got it, both the hat and the shirts, from Coolie Bar. And so Coolie Bar is a company that specializes in sun protection clothing. So they do everything from men's, women's, children's, hats, shirts, kind of work shirts like what I wear. There are different weights of material, so I got the lightest, most breathable because of this time of year. But all the shirts are like sun protection have an SPF of 50. And then the hat, again, I got it years ago, but I think they still carry that. So you can check out Coolie Bar for any of your sun protective clothing. And then Maya25 says, I don't know if you've mentioned this before, but my dog goes crazy for biotone. Have to put chicken wire around certain plants after using it because he will dig up my plants to try and eat the biotone. How do you keep Brenna away, or does she not go after the fertilizer? So that is an extremely common problem with espoma, right? Because it smells delicious to animals for whatever reason. So not only the biotone, but plant tone, any of the tones, they will tend to go after that. Dogs, especially cats. We've had a problem with raccoons digging plants up.
Oh yeah.
Like I'll plant perennials and I come out the next morning, they're completely uprooted and it's been raccoons. As far as Brenna, so I knew that going in when we got Brenna as a puppy, and I never allowed her to eat biotone or any of the tones at all. So when I was in the garden, she was never, as a puppy, as a young puppy, she was never in the garden unsupervised. So she was either on a leash or right near us. And when I was planting, I just would not allow her to eat it. So I never wanted her to have that taste and decide in her brain, oh, this tastes really good and I want to eat it. So it was just a training technique on my part, knowing that this could be a potential problem. And
yeah, but it's the training of a dog that is trained. That's the way they respond.
Right.
Is from that type of training. So she learned early on that when you moved her away from that smell or however you use the method of correcting her for that, and she associated that with smell and that correct. So she doesn't even try to mess with it.
And now as an adult, she doesn't. Well, I say she's
Yeah.
an adult. She's 9 months old.
Yeah.
She just.
So yeah.
She doesn't care. So
yeah.
it was. I mean,
it's
just
much easier when they were smaller, but you should be able to do it with an older dog too.
Right. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. Higgins Angel. Here we go. Yeah, Higgins Angel. It's just one word messed me up there. What size auger are you using now? So there's 2 auger bits that I like to use because it has the extra duty heavy tip on it, and that really cuts through our clay soil. It's all the power planter. I'll always have the power planter links for you in our video description, so you can always check those out. The 2 that I like to use are what size? He remembers better than I do.
It's
5 inch.
5 inch, and then the
Is it
9
an 8
inch?
inch? 9 inch?
9 inch.
Yeah. So the 5 inch will easily do grande containers and will almost like perfectly do a 1 gallon. If you need some more room for like a bigger 1 gallon, like the premiums, I'll kind of have to work it, or I could bump up to the bigger auger. Mm-hmm. But for me, that 5 inch does great.
Yeah, especially with our soils, that it can go right into it pretty quick as compared to the wider one.
Right.
I was using the wider one, putting in some 4x4 posts for a timer up at the nursery for the 3-gallon shrubs, and it was this particular section is probably, I would dare to say, the hardest clay on the entire property. Mm-hmm. And I almost came back and got the smaller diameter to be able to get it. In fact, I think I did.
Like a pilot hole.
Yeah. So the 5 inch would have worked for the 4x4 post.
Well, yeah.
And so that way I could have gotten them just a little bit deeper. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's why I think that you're liking that 5 inch so much.
It doesn't. I don't say beat me up as much.
Yeah, and it's got some height to it. You can work it from the top, with all those. So they're really, you'll never have an issue with those auger bits, the ones that Jenny is using with the heavy duty tip and
No, because we've had them almost for a year now.
Yeah.
It's almost been a year that we've had them.
Yeah.
And they are in just as great condition. And you can even buy just the replacement tip. So if you wear your tip down, you can get just the tip from Power Planter.
Right.
The great product.
Yeah. Great product. Yep.
Yep. So that's it. That's all the questions that we've chosen for today. I figure this has been a good session with questions and the length of it. And so we will try to be more regular on this. We're doing them once a month. We got a little bit behind here, and so we've had people asking for some questions, some of this video. So here you go. And But yeah, so just look out for the different garden tours that we will be doing and all the fun festivities, activities.
Yeah, and we upped our videos.
We did.
Yes,
we
brought
did.
That up. We did.
We now have 5 videos a week as opposed to 4.
Right.
So some of you have noticed that, and so yep, we're cranking out 5 a week now, and yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
Nope, he's good. All right. Well, that is it for us today. We are going to go in and refill our water glasses because we're in the shade, but whew,
It's hot.
it's sticky.
Yep.
It is sticky for sure. So as always, thank y'all so much for gardening with Creekside. We so appreciate all of your support and your encouragement and looking out for us and just everything. So this is a great little community and we sure do appreciate it. So as always, thanks so much. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.